I may have to stop and start over. Are you talking? Yes, I'm talking. I am talking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? New technology. Makes me crazy. Okay, I don't know why the stream is so big. I don't know why. Can you hear me? I don't think. Oh, you guys should be able to hear me. Can you hear me now? I think you can hear me. Okay. I'm going to assume you can hear me. Give me notes in the chat so I can try to get this chat from being so gigantic. Oh, you can hear me. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. Good. So, hi, Krista. Thank you for being on with me and helping me through the technology. I greatly appreciate that. Oh, good. I'm glad you can hear me. For some reason, the microphone was turned off. I do not know why. Okay, so as you guys are hopping on, Krista got me through the bumps, and now she has helped me so that you guys can hear me. I'm excited to be here. We're going to talk about keeping your home safe for your kids. And if you're coming on with me, say hello. Give me a, emoji. Let me know you're there so I can say hello back. If you're on the replay, give me a hashtag after party. And thank you for hopping on the replay as well. And give me comments. I will respond to the comments. If you're on Periscope, guys, know that you can friend me on Facebook. I do most of my work on Facebook. And if you're not in Pumped Up Parenting on Facebook, by all means, please join us. Okay. A little bit about me. I'm Celia Kibler, family empowerment coach, as you can see right here. And I'm here to empower you parents with tips, techniques, strategies so that you can turn around and empower your kids and really reach the goals you want for your whole family. So, with a little technical difficulties, we're going to not waste any more of your time and we're going to get started. So let's talk about ways you can keep your children safe at home. Tuesday, we talked about ways to keep them safe at school. This time, we're talking about your own home. Because let me tell you guys, a lot of times, there are things at home that are not safe for your kids. So we're going to get down and dirty on those things. I got about 10 tips for you guys. So let's get started. Okay. Number one, and some of these you may know already, and some of them you might not be aware of. Hi, Terry Ann. Thanks for hopping on. But, if you do some of these things, put it in the comments. Know that there's a slight delay here before I see your comments. And also, if you have an idea that I haven't mentioned, by all means, put it in the comments because it will help everyone else as well. Okay, number one, and this is a common one, but one that a lot of people don't do, and that is to lock up your medicines. And if you don't have a locking medicine box or cabinet, then put them up way, way high where your kids cannot reach them. And put them in a box where they're also kind of disguised, so they can't just see that there's medicine there. Hi, Terry Ann. Good evening to you too. Okay. So medicines. Keep them safe. Keep them out of the reach of the kids. And that goes for pharmaceuticals as well as over-the-counter. All of that should be away from your children. If you have grandchildren like I do and you don't have small children living at home anymore, make sure that if your grandchildren come, they are put away somewhere safe. Just be proactive, guys. We don't want any accidents. We don't want kids taking stuff they shouldn't be taking. Okay, number two. Like I told you, a lot of this stuff is common sense, but yet people don't do them. Working smoke detectors. Make sure all the smoke detectors in your house are working. If they're hanging there and they got no batteries in them, put the batteries in it. Or, they sell 10-year smoke detectors now, and they're small. We've put a couple in our house. Super wonderful. Why? Because they last for 10 years. You don't have to worry about changing batteries. So get your smoke detectors up to date. The life you save may be your own. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about fire right now. And if you have a fire escape plan in your home, give me like a high five if you're actually utilizing a fire escape plan for you and your kids. Because number three is you should have a fire escape plan. If, God forbid, there's a fire in your home, do you and your kids know how to get out of that home? Do your kids know where the closest escape route is? Do you have ladders for the second story? So if they have no option but going out that window, there's a ladder that they can put down the window and climb out. You want to practice this with your kids. Don't just go, okay, so if there's a fire, you can go out the front door. Practice it, especially if they're little. Older kids, they know. But if you've got little kids, they don't know, and they're going to be afraid, and older kids will be afraid too. I mean, just imagine if there's a fire in the house, kids aren't not going to know what to do. You're going to be afraid. So you have to be the voice of calmness, like you have to be a lot in parenting, And if you practice the escape plan in advance, then they will automatically know what to do, and those little brain patterns will pop in. Okay, so practice your fire drills. You know, the stop, drop, and roll, that whole thing that they teach you to get away from smoke. You want to be on the ground, low, 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 low. You can practice crawling around like snakes. Practice crawling like turtles. There's all kinds of fun games you can make so that they understand when you say, be a snake, they know what you mean. Be a turtle, they know it's time to crawl. So if you make it something they remember easy, they will be able to do it in an emergency. Number 4. Now, this is like a pet peeve of mine, guys, and I'm mentioning it because there's a lot of danger if you don't do this. If you are cooking on your stove, turn the handles inward, not outward, not like, here's the edge of the stove and your handle's like sticking out where a kid can reach up and grab it. Make sure all handles of your stove are inward. You have 4 burners or more. Make sure the handles are going in the middle of those burners, not sticking out of the edge of the stove. A small child can reach up, hit a handle by accident. They could be walking by, it cannot even be intentional. And boom, whatever's cooking is all over that kid and they're burned 3rd degree. Okay, number 5. Teach your children how to call 911. Practice on a phone. If there's an emergency with you, an emergency with them, a friend, somebody, practice calling 911. Give me a 1 if your kids know how to call 911 and know why to call 911. They should not only know how, they should know why they need to call it. There's a lot of parents that have medical issues. If you have epilepsy and you might have a seizure or you might just simply fall, they need to know how to get you help. So 911, teach them how to do it, teach them why to do it, teach them when to do it. Okay? All right. Number 6, keep your cribs, your kids' beds, away from windows and cords. Don't let a big old open window sit right next to your child's bed. They're going to explore. If you have a cord, wrap it up high so they can't get it. Especially if you have a crib, they don't want to get entangled in the crib, in between the bars. I think so, but I don't know so. Nick, you mean 911? I know, I get delayed on these things. Find out if they know how to do it. Okay, I think I'm like not centered because I'm so fidgety. I'm like a toddler. I'm very fidgety. All right, so keep the cords, keep windows closed. We don't want any risk of those kids falling out of a window. Even if it's hot outside, guys, get fans going. Keep them away from kids safely too. You can put them on a dresser, put them up high, something like that. You don't want little fingers exploring fans. All right. Number 7, practice crossing the street with your child. Holding hands, let them understand what stop signs are, stop lights. We always play a game in the car. My grandkids and my kids were little. My grandkids now, I'm always like, red is for go. I don't teach them that way. I go, thank you, Nick. I am a toddler. Red is for stop. Green is for go. Yellow is for slow down. And we do it. And I'll go, what is red? Stop. What is green? Go. What is yellow? Slow down. So you can make it a game. They need to know what these things are when it comes time to cross a street. And for you parents that have toddlers that do not want you to hold their hand across the street, I am sorry. I've told you guys about negotiables and non-negotiables. Holding their hand when they cross the street is a non-negotiable. That is not up for negotiation. That is not up for discussion. You grab your child's hand and you walk them across the street. God forbid you have a 2-year-old and you are holding their hand or not holding their hand, and they decide all of a sudden they see something and they run after it. They get hit by a car. There are all kinds of scenarios that things like that can happen. So, not negotiable. You get to the edge of the street, you look both ways while holding your child's hand, and you take them across the street. Okay. Thank you, Nick. So glad you're enjoying my great topics. I hope this is helping everybody because it's safety month and we want to keep our kids safe. Okay. Number 8, wear your seatbelts. Wear your seatbelts, put your kids in safety seats, make sure the safety seats are installed correctly. Don't I drink a lot of water? I'll tell you a story about my dad. My dad, 91 years old, was one of the first 4 people that installed airplane seatbelts into automobiles. So you can thank my dad that you wear a seatbelt across your waist. They did the original testing, the original everything that needed to get those belts into cars. But anyway, wear them. The chance of you being in an accident where a seatbelt doesn't help you or your child is slim and none. The chance of you becoming a human torpedo or your child and shooting out of a windshield is huge. And I don't think you want your child to experience that. So put on your seatbelts, buckle your kids into safety seats. And remember, guys, the majority of accidents, for those of you that think I'm just running to the store, the majority of accidents happen within 5 miles of your home. The majority of them. So don't use the excuse, I'm just running to the store. That's when most accidents happen. How do I feel about kids on monkey leashes to keep them from taking off running on you? I don't really see anything wrong with leashes. I mean, people think it's like a horrible thing because animals are on leashes. But so do you care more about your animal than you care about your child? You know, if there's a leash and there's a way of they want to, move around, they don't want to be in strollers, then that's a great way for them to walk around and also stay safe. It's a win-win for both of you. You can have hooked onto your wrist, hooked onto their wrist. However you do it, they have those harnesses. It is not mean. It is not, child abuse. It's actually, if your child doesn't like to sit in a stroller or hold your hand, it's a way for them to allow them to be curious, move around, and you still keeping, a hold of them while letting them have a little bit of freedom. So I actually don't think anything, bad about it. Yes, my dad's an amazing guy. For his birthday one day, I actually printed out how many lives have been saved with seatbelts, made it a huge banner and stuck it up there on the wall because he doesn't think it's a big deal. And I think, wow, what a way to impact the human race. All right. Okay, what do we got? Oh, be aware of their screen time and who they're talking to online. And thank you, Nick. This goes for anything, whether they're playing video games, whether they're, just on the computer. Thanks for the hearts, guys, too. I really appreciate it. Whether they're on the computer, whatever they're doing, if they're online, you need to be aware of it. I don't know if you guys saw the broadcast I did with my son about video games. It's in the feed somewhere. But he says there are a lot of parental controls on consoles. You can monitor who they're talking to. If you're not sure, stand there with them and watch. You don't know who's out there talking to your kid, and they might think it's another kid, and yet it is not. It is a bad guy. So watch, get involved, play games with your kids. See what they love about the game they're playing. Let them, teach you. learn, educate yourself, and be aware of what they're doing on a computer, on a smartphone, on a video console. Be aware of what they're doing. Keep those kids safe. Okay, number 10. We're on number 10 already. We're on number 10. Hi, Shimbrel. All right, so he probably loved it. What did he probably love? He did love it. I don't know what he loved, but he did. He did love it. I don't know if that's my dad or my son. See, there's a delay in these comments. And because I'm not looking at my phone, it's going slower on my screen. Okay. Number 10. Roblox is a popular kids game like Minecraft. They just had some violence and rape stuff, so definitely agree. I'm doing great, Chambrel. Thank you. Hi, Ashley. You can change their iPad settings to child's iPads and review all their info. Yes. Absolutely. Oh, the seatbelt banner. Thank you. Yeah. Guys, and I'll repeat it again if you didn't see my son's broadcast about video games. But one of the things he told you about video games themselves is if you look at the back of the box, it does not only give you the rating of the game, but it tells you why it is rated that way. It will say sex, violence, language, whatever can be, drugs. There's all that stuff. So be aware. Just don't buy a game and think, oh, well, his friends wanted him to have it or somebody else wanted him to have it. Look and see what it is. And same with like Roblox. There's a lot of games and they're incorporating more and more in them. So stay up to date. Okay, number 10. If you have little kids, even with parental cells, yes, they do. They still get in there. They have their ways. If you have little kids, guys, big kids, not as much. They're big. But if you have little kids, I want you to be little. So crawl around your house and notice what is at eye level for your child. A lot of corners are at eye level. Doorknobs, perfect eye level for a toddler. And if your kid's banging into it all the time, they're banging into it with their head. So you may want to get those little grip soft covers for them. Corners, fireplaces, crawl around, plugs, cords, all that stuff is like a winter wonderland for your toddler. So check out what it is and make sure it's safe. Okay, and I wanted to say one more thing. I love water. Okay, that's not what I wanted to say, but I love water. Water and coffee. Those are my drinks. All right, I want you to set up your house so that you can have a yes house and not a no house. The reason you're welcome, Nick. I know it seems so logical, but yet we don't think about it. The reason I say that is because a lot of things happen to kids. Things fall on them, things break, because there are things that are out that little eyes want to play with. Remember how curious your child is. They want to touch, they want to feel, they want to taste. If you got a stapler sitting out, that looks fascinating to a child, and it's dangerous. This one happens to weigh a ton. They can staple their fingers. How do you feel about kids playing outside? Should we allow them to or stay with them at all times? Absolutely, kids should absolutely play outside. Now, it depends whether you should stay with them, Ashley. It depends, like where they're playing. So if you have like a fully fenced backyard and say you're in your kitchen, it also depends on the age of the child. I mean, a 2-year-old, yes, you should stay with them and watch them. But let me knock my glasses off my head. But if you have like a fenced yard and you can, like my daughter has a fully fenced yard and you can stand in her kitchen and look out the backyard. It has high fences, not even short fences. And if the kids are back there, they're like 5, 6, you can see them. They're perfectly safe. In my opinion, they're perfectly safe. I mean, I'm assuming there's nothing unsafe in your backyard. If you have things that are not safe for kids in your backyard, rakes, grills, shovels, heavy, sharp objects, then no, they should not be playing in the backyard by themselves. But if your yard is safe and it is fenced in, then that's fine. If your kids are older, they are okay going outside by themselves. I mean, there's an age, preteen, teens, they need to have some responsibility. And yes, they're fine going outside as long as you know where they are. Toddlers, if they're like a young toddler, like a 3 or a 2-year-old, I would be out there with them. I would not let, and 1-year-olds, absolutely. But I would not let them be outside without adult supervision. But they should definitely be outside, guys. You need the fresh air. The fresh air rejuvenates. It's good for you. You need sunshine. Vitamin D comes directly from the sun, and there's a huge deficiency of vitamin D in humanity now because there's so many people on their computers and their phones, and they're inside and they're not outside. Yes, correct. He's 8, and I let him play with the other kids and go out frequently. He's becoming more independent. I don't want. Yes, Ashley, that's fine. 8-year-olds, just make sure, you know where he is. He doesn't go to strangers' houses. And, he learns, okay, you have to be in an hour, whatever limits you're giving him. Make sure he has limits, and he understands when he has to be home and where his boundaries are in the neighborhood. I mean, maybe he's hanging out with his 3 friends that live in the 2 houses next to you. Then that's fine. You want to give him boundaries and limits and know where your kids are all the time. You don't have to hover, but you need to know where they are, and then they need to know when you expect them home. Because if you're like, well, just be home sometime soon, God forbid something happens and they're not supposed to be home at a designated time, how will you know if anything happened to them? You will not know because you have no idea where they are. I love you too, Ashley. I love you too. Thank you. Okay. So set up your home for safety inside and out. And the reason I say that is because you want to be able to say yes to your child more than you can say no. And if your house is set up where you're like, oh, don't touch that. Don't touch that. Don't touch. Oh, no. Don't touch that. Oh, don't go there. If it's all no's, that is like raising your children in a totally negative environment. I made a pact with the other moms and yes, perfect. That's, being raised by the village. Absolutely. And the other thing is it allows your child to trust where they go. If they get in a jam and say they're 2 houses down from you, but they're at Susan's house, that they feel comfortable that they can go knock on the door and ask for help. That's really important, that they know who their neighbors are and everybody's aware that they're out playing. Yes. I love it. So make your house a yes house. Kids get said no to, on average, 400 times a day. They get said yes to only about 35 times a day. So why don't you reverse that in your house so that they can say yes, they can hear yes a whole lot more than they hear no. Good points to add to the checklist. Also may be good to ask about what they did and talk about it. Yeah, absolutely. Always find the conversation in everything you and your kids do. There's always questions you can ask. The more specific the questions, the more specific the answers. Even if a great way to take your kids out is to go on a nature hike and make a little, nature sheet. If you want my nature sheet, I'll send it to you. Write in the comments that you want my nature sheet. But you could take them out on a nature walk, take the lunch bag so they can pick up sticks and leaves. Nothing complicated. Sticks, leaves. They can find the sun. They can find clouds. They can find dirt. They can find bugs. What do you think we should tell kids about stranger danger, like people approaching them? So, Ashley, you need, and that, That's good. I'm going to write that down. I might give you ideas, but I want to write it down because that'd be a good broadcast. Stranger danger. Okay. So basically, you want kids to know that they can associate with people that you know. So if you're talking about when they're outside, they want to stick to people they know. If somebody approaches them and they feel uncomfortable, they are to say no, scream really loud, and run as far as they can. And if they know the houses they're at, they can bang on the door. If they don't feel good, they say no. They don't need any other words. No and a scream is perfect. And then they run. Okay? So you teach them that. And they stay within the boundaries. So like if they're outside and you're at your house and your neighbor's house and your neighbor's house, that's where they go. That's it. And you can come out occasionally, check on them. Your other moms or dads will come out and check on them. But they know that if there's anything that you think feels funny or you don't like a person that you're watching, and I'm talking about them, they don't like somebody or they feel funny about someone that's wandering around, they run inside or they run to the neighbor's house right away. And they bang on the door and they say no and they scream and they're out of there. Having the same issue too, Shambro. Nature walk. Good. Yes, you want. Okay, I'll send it to you. But not someone who says they know their parents. Sorry. If I misspoke that. You want to know who they are and they know who they are. Because you know them. Does that make sense? I mean, they're familiar to you. They're not strangers. You know, I told a story about keeping kids safe at school on Tuesday about a girl that I had to pick up on the highway, this little 5-year-old who had walked away from school because she couldn't get in, and she's walking down this major highway. And it was before cell phones. There was no way for me to call police. And I had to convince her to get into my car because I did not want her standing. She was 5 years old. I didn't want her on a highway. So I actually told her that I had a little girl her age, and that was enough to convince her to get in the car. Not very hard to convince her. And I hated doing it because of the stranger thing, but her safety was more important. So a man went down the street the other day in a van and waved at him. I saw it and thought to myself, why did you do that? He said, because he was nice. I told him you don't know that, but wasn't sure what else to say other than scare him. We've had the talk many times. Okay, so the man waved at him or he waved at the man? Okay, I'm thinking your son waved at the man. And you don't recognize the man or anything like that. Yes, you should tell him that it's okay to be friendly to strangers, but only if you're with him. So if you are walking in a mall and someone waves at him and you're with him and he waves back and he's being friendly, that's fine. But if he is alone, he does not wave or he does not smile or acknowledge a person he doesn't know if he is on his own. And if you're really worried about that van, make sure you get a picture of the license plate or write down the license plate. Call the police. Ask about it. I write in my bad. No, that's fine. The man waved at him. Oh, the man waved at him. Oh, and he waved back. Okay, and he could have just been friendly, a friendly person. But let your son know that he does not wave or smile at anyone he doesn't know when he is by himself. If he's with you, that's fine. And you wave and he waves, that's fine. And he is in the safety of his parent, that's fine. But when he's by himself, just let him know, since we don't know who these people are, and they may be very nice people. You know, don't tell them they could be horrible people that are going to kidnap you. You don't need to go into that scenario. But it is simple enough to say, because we don't know who these people are, And even though they may be very nice, if you are by yourself for your safety, I would like you not to acknowledge them. Don't wave, don't smile, just continue to play with your friends. If you're with me and I'm there, that's a different situation. But when you're by yourself, you do not acknowledge a stranger, okay? All right. Does that help you, Ashley? Did that answer your question? I hope. But I will do, I'll do a stranger thing. I'll do that next week, either Tuesday or Friday. Not sure which one, but I will do one on strangers, a full broadcast. Okay? All right, guys. So any other questions? And if I sign off and you think of another question, I'm the guy in the van. I always test kids with friendliness and know the risk, but I'm not going to sniff out my loving heart out of fear. God bless your heart for helping that little girl at that moment. Because, yeah, don't get involved. Thank you. You're so sweet, Jembrell. Yeah, I wasn't going to leave her. I hated, destroying the whole stranger thing, but I certainly wasn't going to leave her there to get hit by a car. I mean, that wasn't going to happen. So I know you're not the guy in the van. I know. Nick, we know you're joking. We know. Yeah, it was a hard scenario. And of course, my daughter was going to that school the next year. And let me tell you, I had a few words to speak to them about. Okay, so guys, next week we'll talk about stranger danger and something else. I haven't decided. But Tuesday and Friday at 9 p.m. Also, guys, if you need help with anything, reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. And I'll be starting another 7-day no shouting challenge. Some of these people have been in it and had huge success. I'll be starting that again soon. Heads up. I'll give you a heads up when that's going. And in the meantime, guys, if you have any questions, reach out. If you're not on Facebook, friend me on Facebook. Join Pumped Up Parenting. I'd love to have you as part of our group, our family. And I wish you days filled with peace, love, and tons of laughter. Remember to laugh. It really is the best medicine. And talk about teacher-parent conference tips. Oh, do you want me to do that one? I actually did that not too long ago, but I can do that again. Okay, teacher. I have to make notes or I forget, parent conference. Okay, I'll do a bonus one on that because I actually did that one not too long ago. It might not have been long. I may tag you in it, Ashley, because I think it was just the other day. All right. When do you take down the Peaceful Parenting Challenge? It will be this week's over. It's probably going to be the beginning of next week. Okay. So in the meantime, guys, I love you lots. I'm thrilled that you were on with me. I'm super grateful that you hung out with me for 40 minutes on a Friday night. You guys rock and roll. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you here in Pumped Up Parenting on Facebook, on Periscope, on YouTube, wherever you see me, all over the web. Have an awesome evening. Bye, guys.